Sampurita pamita paramita balena Vidvansiyo kila kilesa samohajalang Teneva landa arahang arahoti namang Vandami buddha mamalang Hadaye tapentwa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Mano pumbangama dhamma mano siddha manomaya Manasace pasannena bhasati va karoti va Tatonam sukhamanveti chayava anapayiniti Venerable members of the Mahasangha of the Berkeley Buddhist Vihara, Richmond, North California, USA. Dear devotees, friends in the Dhamma, you all gathered here to listen to Dhamma, the message of the Supreme Buddha. Whenever we listen to Dhamma, that is a great opportunity to listen to the world reality as it is. Listening to Dhamma is a very rare chance, and also having a blissful life is a very rare chance. We have received these both chances, having a blissful life in the human realm. At the same time, we have received the Buddha Sasana, the dispensation of the Supreme Buddha. When we have these opportunities, we say that Shana Sampatti or Khana Sampatti, the most valuable rare opportunity. In order to receive this opportunity, we have done a lot of meritorious deeds and wishes in our previous lives. That is why we have received this opportunity. The Buddha says, listening to Dhamma is a blessing. Kārena Dhamma savanam and Kārena Dhamma sakacca etham mangalam uttamam. Listening to Dhamma is a supreme blessing. When we listen to Dhamma, we can purify our mind from negative thoughts. Whenever we purify our mind from negative thoughts, it means we do good deeds in our life, physically, verbally, and mentally. When we do our activities with a pure mind, happiness follows us because of pure mind. This is the way how we achieve the real happiness. Dear friends in the Dhamma, we do all activities from our birth to death, from the morning to sleep, for our happiness. Happiness is the main purpose of everyone. We like happiness, we dislike suffering. Sukha kamani dukkha patikolani. This is the nature of the beings who are born in this world. We do everything for happiness. We do everything in order to overcome suffering. In this situation, we should understand what should we do for the real happiness. The Buddha says, whenever we can keep our mind pure and calm, happiness follows us because of pure mind. By listening to Dhamma, we purify our mind. When we understand the Dhamma, and also when we trust in the Dhamma, what the Blessed One explained, we have Saddha. Our knowledge and Saddha, these things are very important to cultivate 𝒮𝓃 the wisdom of hearing. Although we listening to Dhamma, if we don't trust in the Dhamma, that is just a knowledge but not the 𝒮𝓃. 𝒮𝓃 means the wisdom of hearing. It means we have knowledge and trust in the Dhamma. When we have both things, we go forward with the 𝒭ntāmaya, the wisdom of contemplating on or thinking of it. When we practice 𝒭ntāmaya, the wisdom of contemplating, we go forward through bhavanāmaya, the wisdom of meditation, by practicing samatha and vipassana bhavana. This is the path of liberation. For that, listening to Dhamma is very important to achieve the sammaditthi or right understanding. The Supreme Buddha says, sammaditthi pure javan. Right understanding is the forerunner. Right understanding should be first. The vision is first, then mission. When we follow the Dhamma, at the very beginning of the practice, we should have clear understanding what we practice, where we are going to. Our main purpose and final goal is that happiness. Santutti paramandana. Happiness or contentment is the greatest treasure. The Supreme Buddha says, ārogya paramalabha santutti paramandanam visāsa paramāñāti nibbāna paramansukam. Health is the greatest gain. Contentment is the greatest treasure. Trustworthiness is the best kinship. And Nibbāna is the highest bliss. In this path, happiness is very important. From the beginning to end, on the path of liberation, we cultivate, develop, and gain happiness. Here it is very important to understand happiness. This happiness is not the sensual happiness. This is the spiritual happiness that we receive through our mind consciousness. When you gain happiness in your normal life, by seeing something, by hearing something, by tasting something, this happiness is sensual happiness. That happiness can change any time. But when we practice Dhamma, that happiness is very powerful, and that happiness is controlled by ourselves. Our sensual happiness is controlled by the outside material world or persons. But when we cultivate spiritual happiness, that happiness is controlled by ourselves. That is controlled by our pure mind. That happiness is so powerful. And also, as human beings, when we get happiness in this life doing some other activities except practicing Dhamma, that happiness usually comes in the future. We always wish a happy future. That is why always we bless that you may have a better tomorrow. Always we bless a happy tomorrow, until we die. That happy tomorrow never comes. That is the nature of our normal life. But when we come to the Dhamma, that is very special. When we come to the Dhamma, that happiness is in the present moment. While we are practicing Dhamma, we enjoy our life. We receive rapture and joy, piti and sukha. That is the difference between the normal life and the spiritual life. In our normal life, we always bless a better tomorrow. But when we come to the Dhamma, as soon as we come to practice Dhamma, we understand, we receive the happiness at the present moment. That is the nature of the Dhamma. 𝒮𝓃𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶. Because Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One, when we practice Dhamma, we can see visible results immediately effective. 𝒮𝓃𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶. When we understand the nature of our happiness is that purifying our minds, then always we keep our mind pure and calm. This is the first step of our sammaditthi. Manasache pasannena bhasati va karoti va. If someone does something with a pure mind, verbally, physically or mentally, happiness follows him because of pure mind. With this understanding, we come to the Dhamma in the mundane level based on the conventional truth, karmic law. This is the nature of the karma. We always practice good deeds in our life. All the good activities we practice in our day-to-day life can be summarized into three. We say that ත්‍රිවිධ පුණ්‍ය ක්‍රියා. දානමයන් පුණ්‍ය කිරියවත්තු, සීලමයන් පුණ්‍ය කිරියවත්තු, භාවනාමයන් පුණ්‍ය කිරියවත්තු. Dana or generosity is a meritorious act. Sila or virtue is a meritorious act. Bhavana or meditation, mental culture, is a meritorious act. When we practice these meritorious deeds, sukho punya sauchyo. Practicing merits means practicing happiness, gaining happiness. This is the nature of the karmic law. How do we practice these three meritorious deeds in our lives? The very first one is generosity, sharing something with others. We offer something to others for their needs, for their happiness. Dana or generosity can be practiced into three ways: Amisa dana, Abheya dana, and Dhamma dana. Amisa dana means giving material things such as food, shelter, clothes, medicine. If we offer these items to others with kind heart, with compassionate heart, that belongs to Amisa dana. The second one, Abheya dana, giving fearlessness, saving others' lives. This is also very important. If we can save others' life, if we offer the fearlessness to that other people, that is Abheya dana, or giving fearlessness. And the third one of generosity, that Dhamma dana, sharing Dhamma knowledge with our friends and relatives. Buddha says, Sabba danang, Dhamma danang tinati. The gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. When we give a chance to others to listen to Dhamma and practice Dhamma, other people can get a lot of benefits through listening to Dhamma and practicing Dhamma. If we give some material things to someone, that is beneficial for only this immediate life. But if we give Dhamma to someone, that is beneficial not only for this immediate life, they can get some benefits for their entire sansaric journey. That is why practicing Dhamma dana, or the gift of Dhamma, is highly appreciated in Buddhist teachings. When we practice dana or generosity in these three ways, Amisa dana, Abhedana, Dhammadana. Our mind is so pure and calm. We can cultivate our inner peace, happiness by practicing generosity. That is why Dhamma explains, Piti mudarang vindati data. He who has a generous heart gains a lot of happiness. If we can make a generous heart, always our mind is very pure and calm. That pure mind brings us happiness. It helps us to cultivate our inner peace. The next meritorious act is that sila or virtue, moral conduct, ethics. It means when we do something, when we speak something, we think again and again whether it is correct. That is very important. Sila. Sila is the foundation of our spiritual life. Especially here, we practice 5 precepts, which is very appreciated in Buddhist teachings. Abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from false speech, and abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs that causes heedlessness. When we practice these 5 precepts, we can see the results in this immediate life. We have no regrets. We have no sufferings, no problems whenever we practice these 5 qualities. These are the human values, human qualities, ethics in our social life. The Buddha says very clearly, he who practices 5 precepts giving fearlessness to the world, giving metta or loving kindness to the world. Abhyandeti, averandeti, abhyapajandeti. The Supreme Buddha says, if a person practices these 5 precepts, he gives the fearlessness to the world. He gives metta or loving kindness to the world. If I practice these 5 qualities, he is a very good person. He never disturbs others, and also other people who are around him always are very happy. They have no fear, no doubt about that person. Therefore, we should practice these 5 qualities as much as we can. The next quality that we can practice according to the 3 meritorious seeds, that bhavana or mental culture, meditation. Meditation means purifying our minds directly, focusing our mind in the present moment based on mindfulness. Here, in the mundane level, practicing metta bhavana is highly appreciated in Buddhist teachings. How do we practice it? Always keeping our mind in the present moment, we contemplate on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings at my home be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in this village or city be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in this province or state be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in this country, in this planet, in this solar system, in this galaxy, in this universe, in this entire world, be well, happy and peaceful. Again and again, we contemplate on this. As a result of practicing metta bhavana, we are able to overcome a lot of unwholesome mental states from our minds. Especially, we can overcome anger. Anger is one of the main causes that disturbs our peace of mind. When we frequently practice metta bhavana, our mind has no space for anger, jealousy, conceit. We have no these negative thoughts in our minds whenever we practice metta bhavana. As a result of practicing metta bhavana to the maximum level, we see the entire world like our family, like our children. When we come to this attitude, our mental situation is very high in spirituality. It means we can overcome a lot of negative thoughts from our mind. We can maintain our pure mind. Whenever we do activities with a pure mind, physically, verbally, or mentally, we are able to cultivate our inner peace, happiness. These three meritorious deeds should be done in the highest level. When we practice generosity, that is not just a generosity, but we should uplift it into a bhavana meditation technique, like the 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃, the contemplation of generosity. After we offering something to someone, we should think it again and again. I have offered these things to someone with my pure mind. When we contemplate on it again and again, we can cultivate our concentration based on generosity or dana. Not only that, when we practice sila or virtue, we should uplift it into a meditation technique which is sila anusati. That is also very important. When you practice 5 precepts, every day you can think it as a meditation. That is sila anusati. I practice these kind of precepts. When you think it again and again, that helps us to concentrate our mind in the present moment. That is a meditation. And also, when we practice metta bhavana, we can cultivate positive thoughts in our minds, such as metta, mindfulness, samadhi, concentration, and finally, we can gradually reach wisdom through this practice. Friends in the Dhamma, when we practice this Dhamma, we can see the results in this immediate life, since we can cultivate our inner peace, happiness. The more we practice meritorious deeds, the more we cultivate our inner peace, happiness. 𝒂𝓶 ℒ𝒶𝓃. That is why Buddhism says practicing meritorious deeds means practicing happiness. That happiness is not in the future. That happiness is in the present moment. As I mentioned earlier, when we do our common activities in our day-to-day life, our happiness mostly comes in the future. But when we come to the Dhamma, practicing Dhamma, that happiness cultivates in the present moment. We enjoy our happiness. We gain our happiness in the present moment, purifying our minds. That is the purpose of Buddhist teachings. These are the qualities that we can practice as the result of gaining sammaditthi or right understanding. When we practice these qualities, we can see the results in this immediate life. Not only we are happy, we can make other people to make them happy. When we spend a spiritual life, our relatives and friends are also happy when we look at us. When we see our spiritual life, our peaceful lives, they also can be happy, and they also try to practice what we practice. We are always examples for them. That is also very important. Having this understanding, we gradually go forward through listening to Dhamma. We come to the next level of sammaditthi or right understanding. The very first experience of sammaditthi is based on karmic law, karmic energy in the mundane level, based on the conventional truth. Even though we practice these 3 meritorious deeds, generosity, virtue, and metta bhavana, Still we are in the samsaric circle since we haven't overcome ignorance or delusion. We can generate positive thoughts of punyavi sankhara and ananjavi sankhara, meritorious mental formations and inevitable meritorious mental formations. We can cultivate these positive thoughts in our lives by practicing meritorious deeds, but still we are in the samsaric circle since still we are ignorant. What is the ignorance that we have? We think that there is an external world around us. When we experience something, there was a world. When we experience a world, there is a world around us. After we experience something, the world remains around us. This is the nature of ignorance or delusion. This is the nature of bhava or the process of becoming. Bhava jati. When we think there is a world around us, it means we are ready to come back to the world. That is bhava or karma bhava. As a result of karmic bhava, we are ready to come to the uppati bhava. In the kama loka, rupa loka or arupa loka, we will be reborn. This is the nature of avidya and bhavatanha. Ignorance and the craving to the world or clinging to the world. Friends in the Dhamma, how do we overcome this ignorance? We should understand the Dhamma through listening to Dhamma. We understand the Dhamma through good association, noble association. When we meet good persons who know the Dhamma, gradually we can listen to Dhamma. By listening Dhamma, we can cultivate our inner peace and especially we can cultivate our understanding in the Dhamma in the world. How do we know it? When we listen to Dhamma very clearly, with the association of good friends who know the Dhamma very well, we understand what happens to our lives in this moment. When we look at something, when we hear something, when we taste something, when we smell something, when we have some experiences through our physical body, we can contact something at the present moment. But we are unable to stay in the present moment. That present vipaka moment or vipaka level or results level is very instant. It arises and ceases at the present moment. And also, when we recognize something through our senses, the very first experience has already ceased. When we recognize something, we understand everything through our mind consciousness. Mind objects, mind contact, mental formations, mind consciousness. When those things are together, we can understand something based on our five senses, the material world forms. The very important thing that we should understand. Whenever we recognize something through our mind consciousness, there is no forms at that moment. The very first experience based on the formal world has already ceased. We read our mind at this moment, but our ignorance doesn't believe it. When we look at something, when we hear something, when we taste something, when we smell something, we experience something at the present moment. That is the nature of our ignorance. But that is not the reality. What is the reality? What is the truth? The truth is that when we understand something through our mind consciousness based upon the material world, based upon our five senses, the material world, the five senses, five consciousnesses, five contacts have already ceased. If we can come to this understanding, and also if we are confident in this reality explained by the Supreme Buddha, we come to the real Dhamma. Then we achieve the 𝒮𝓃 the wisdom of hearing. We understand very well, whenever we have no this real understanding, our mind depends on the material world or persons. Whenever our mind depends on the material world, we are not away from suffering. We have to face aging, decay, sickness, sorrow, lamentation, death. All the sufferings come to our life whenever we are ignorant, whenever our mind depends on the material world and persons. With this understanding, we are afraid of living in this world based on ignorance, since suffering comes to our lives whenever we are ignorant. This is the nature of the cause and effect, causality, dependent origination, the 𝐓𝐢𝐩𝐢𝐻, the theory of noble ones. This is the ascending order of Paටිසමුප්පාද. Anuloma Magga. Avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnanam, vijnana paccaya nam rupam, so on. With the arising of ignorance, mental formations arise. When mental formations arise based on ignorance, consciousness arises. When consciousness arises based on ignorance, nama rupa samudaya, mentality and corporeity arise. Finally, we come to bhava-paccaya jati, jati-paccaya jara-marana. As a result of this misleading path, bhava-paccaya, because of the process of becoming, birth arises. As a result of arising of birth, we have to face all the sufferings. This is the nature of the ascending order of the Paටිසමුප්පාද, the dependent origination. With this understanding, we come to the Samma Diṭṭhi, Samma Patipada, the correct path. What is the correct path? How do we overcome this suffering? Avidyāyatveva asesa viraga nirodha sankhara nirodho. With the complete cessation of ignorance, we are able to overcome mental formations, sankhara, based on ignorance. As a result of this right path, we are able to bhava nirodha jati nirodho, jati nirodha jara marana soka parideva dukkha domana supayasa nirujjanti. With the complete cessation of bhava, or the process of becoming, we are able to overcome birth or jati. As the result of cessation of birth, we are able to overcome aging, sickness, death, sorrow, lamentation, and all the sufferings. This is the right path that directly helps us to overcome suffering completely. By listening Dhamma, based on the association of good friendship, we receive this knowledge. Not only we should receive this knowledge, but we should confident in this message. Then 𝒮𝓃 gradually develops the wisdom of hearing. Even though we listen to this message, although we know this process, if we don't trust in it, 𝒮𝓃 or the wisdom of hearing doesn't arise. If we want to come to the 𝒮𝓃, the wisdom of hearing, we have to listen to this message correctly, and also immediately we should trust in this message. This is the direct path for getting rid of suffering. If we have this confidence, we immediately come to the path, practice. What is the practice? Sila Samadhi Panya. Sile patitthaye naro sapanyo chittang panyacha bhavyam. Atapi nipako bhikkhu soiman vijate jatam. The wise person practices concentration and insight meditation based on virtue or moral conduct. By practicing this path, he is able to overcome problems or tangles in this life itself. Firstly, we come to Sila virtue. Here we meet the Noble Eightfold Path. We practice Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, and Samma Ajiva. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood as well. These three things belong to Sila or virtue in the Noble Eightfold Path. But here we should understand, we come to this path, we come to Sila with the understanding of the world about the suffering and its cessation. Here, we should understand the extremes. Karaniya Metta Sutta explains, Dittincha Anupagamma Silava Dassanena Sampanno. We should practice Sila without going to extremes. When a person ceases the arising of five aggregates or mentality and corporeality, he doesn't go to the extreme of nihilism or 𝐁𝐻𝐻. Every moment, our mind and body, or mentality and corporeality, or the five aggregates arise at the moment with the conditions. As the result of the cessation of conditions, these five aggregates or mentality and corporeality cease at the present moment. When we see this reality, we don't go to the extreme of nihilism or 𝐁𝐻𝐻. And also we overcome other extremes too, which is eternalism. When we see the cessation of these five aggregates or mentality and corporeality, we overcome the extreme of eternalism or 𝑠𝑎𝑠𝑎𝑡avāda. These both extremes, nihilism and eternalism, 𝐁𝐻𝐻𝐻 and 𝑠𝑎𝑠𝑎𝑡avāda, should be overcome by one vision, which is the understanding of the dependent origination. Iti imasmin sati idang hoti, imasmin asati idanna hoti. When this is, this is. When this arises, this arises. This is the theory of noble ones, Arya Nyaya. We practice Sila or virtue, moral conduct, based on this understanding. When we practice Sila on the path of liberation, that belongs to the Noble Eightfold Path. We always have this understanding. With this understanding, we gradually go forward. We come to the next path, next step of our spiritual path, which is Samadhi or concentration. Samadhi or concentration. What is that? Samadhi has three steps. Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, and Samma Samadhi. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Keeping our mind in the present moment, we reflect on a positive thought, such as Metta Bhavana, Buddha Anusati, Anapanasati. These are the concentration meditation techniques used in a meditation technique. We cultivate our mind in the present moment, reflecting on these meditation objects again and again. As the result of practicing this path, we can purify our mind from hindrances, pancha nivarana, five hindrances: sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, skeptical doubts. These are the hindrances that disturb our peace of mind. When we concentrate our mind based upon the samatha meditation techniques, we can overcome negative thoughts from our mind. Not only that, we can cultivate the facts of jhana anga, vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. Here you can see, we can cultivate piti, sukha, and ekaggata, rapture, joy, and stillness. Especially in this level, we come to happiness, real happiness, spiritual happiness, piti and sukha, rapture and joy. We come to this level with our spiritual life. This is the real happiness, since this happiness is made by ourselves. This happiness doesn't depend on the outside material world or persons. Therefore, this happiness is very strong. This happiness cannot be stolen by anyone in the outside world, since we have made this happiness by ourselves. Having this understanding, we gradually go forward, since this happiness or rapture and joy is based on the conventional truth. Still we are in the ignorance, therefore we have to go forward. The Buddha says, when we concentrate our mind, we should go forward gradually. Viveka nisitam, viraga nisitam, nirodha nisitam, vasaga parinami. As much as we concentrate our mind in the present moment, we reflect on seclusion, dispassion, cessation, and maturing release. Understanding the Four Noble Truths, we use this concentration for our spiritual faculties, enlightenment factors. Here we meet the 7 enlightenment factors, Satta Bojjhanga, Sati Sambojjhanga, Dhamma Vicaya Sambojjhanga, Viriya, Passaddhi, Piti, Samadhi, Upekkha. These are the enlightenment factors. Mindfulness, keen investigation, energy, rapture, tranquility. With concentration, finally we go to equanimity or upekkha, upekkha sambojjhanga. In this level, we reflect on impermanence, arising and ceasing of 5 aggregates. Every moment, the 5 aggregates, rupa, form, vedana, sensations, sanya, perception, sankhara, mental formations, and vijnana, consciousness. Every moment, these 5 aggregates arise at the moment. And also they cease at the moment when causes cease at the moment. When we come to this level, we see only thing which happens to our life is that arising and ceasing of these 5 aggregates. We reflect on arising and ceasing, udaya, vaya, udayabhyagamini panya, the wisdom of arising and ceasing. As a result of contemplating on this reality again and again, we release from the material world in the outside world. At the same time, we release from even our mental formations and mind consciousness too, whenever we reflect on the impermanence of our mind, mental formations and mind consciousness. Our mind doesn't depend on anything in the material world and even in the external world, internal world. This is the way how we overcome suffering. As a result of practicing this path in this level, in the Satta Bojjhanga, the 7 enlightenment factors, we can see Piti Sambojjhanga and Upekka Sambojjhanga. Here Piti is the highest level Piti, that is Piti Sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of rapture. That rapture arises based upon the understanding of the world reality as it is. Finally, we come to equanimity. This equanimity is in the supramundane level based on the ultimate truth. When we see the arising and ceasing of our mentality and corporeity, we come to equanimity, seeing this reality. That is Sankhara Upekha Jnana, the knowledge of the nature of the mental formations. Dear friends in the Dhamma, through listening to Dhamma, based upon the association of Kalyana Mitra, good association, we understand the world reality as it is. Firstly, we practice 3 meritorious deeds, Dana, Sila and Bhavana. By practicing these 3 meritorious deeds, we cultivate our happiness as Vitakka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha, 𝒃𝓾𝓾, as the jhana facts in the mundane level based upon the conventional truth. When we go to the highest level of right understanding or Sammaditthi, we practice 3 disciplines, virtue, consideration and wisdom, based upon the Noble Eightfold Path. As a result of this practice, we can cultivate the real happiness or rapture, Piti Sambojjhanga, and finally, we come to Upekka Sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of equanimity. This is the spiritual path that we should learn and that we should practice, and finally that we should gain the results in this immediate life. Having a very special, rare chance as human beings in the period of the Buddha Sasana, the dispensation of the Buddha, if we can understand this path, and also if we can trust in this message with the confidence in the Buddha's message, we can go forward day by day. As a result of practicing this path, we can overcome jara, vyadi, marana, decay, sickness and death. Even though we practice Dhamma as the eternal truth, we come to sickness and aging and finally death. That is the nature of the world. But we don't have the suffering of decay, suffering of sickness and suffering of death. As soon as we get the highest result of this path, we immediately overcome jati, jara, vyadi, marana. When a person attains enlightenment, immediately he has overcome these sufferings. But as a normal person, his body becomes these situations, but he doesn't have suffering because he has already overcome attachment to this physical body and mind, the 5 aggregates. He sees his physical body as a material thing, as a tree in the outside world. He doesn't take anything as me, as mine, as myself, since he has already eradicated his ignorance or delusion completely. As a result of eradicating ignorance or delusion, avidya, completely, we are able to overcome craving, anger, jealousy, conceit. All other defilements gradually cease whenever we eradicate ignorance from our minds. This is the path of liberation. This is the path of happiness. This is the path of Dhamma, what the Supreme Buddha has explained. Okay, dear friends in the Dhamma, you can be happy about this path, listening to Dhamma. We acquire positive thoughts in our minds by the power of this spirituality. Now we can wish our relatives and friends who need spiritual support from us. Especially this Dhamma sermon is sponsored by Sala, Mitrani, Mira, and James Douglas and their relatives. They especially wish to bless Mrs. Sara Mitrani Miller, who is getting some treatments in these days. By the power of this spirituality that we accrue through listening to Dhamma and practicing Dhamma, may Mrs. Sara Mitrani Miller get recover very soon, and also may she have a very healthy life, long life, and may our other relatives also be healthy and peaceful. May our departed relatives also receive this merit, and may they receive blissful lives finally. May they also attain the supreme bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's say, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. If you have any Dhamma question, now you can ask. And also, friends in the Dhamma, I would like to summarize all the things that I explained here in Sinhala language too. සදහවත් පින්නතුනි, අද අප මේ ධර්ම මාර්ගයේ මූලික කරුණු කීපයක් පැහැදිලි කරේ. අප කල්‍යාණ මිත්‍ර ආශ්‍රයෙන් සද්ධර්ම ශ්‍රවණය කරනකොට අපට ලැබෙන ප්‍රධානම දේ තමයි සම්මා දිට්ඨිය දිනු වෙනවා. ඒ සම්මා දිට්ඨිය දිනුවන්නේ කල්‍යාණ මිත්‍ර ආශ්‍රයෙන් සැබෑ සද්ධර්මයක් ශ්‍රවණය කරනකොට. ධර්මයේ ශ්‍රවණය කරන වගේම අපේ මොහොත තුල යෝනිසෝ මනසිකාරය දිනු කරගන්නට ඕන. කල්‍යාණ මිත්‍ර ආශ්‍රයෙන් ධර්ම ශ්‍රවණය හා යෝනිසෝ මනසිකාරය දෙක එකට එකතු වෙනකොට අපට ශ්‍රද්ධාව පිහිටනවා. ශ්‍රද්ධාව පිහිටන්නේ කුමක් පිළිබඳවද? එකක් තමයි කර්මය හා කර්මඵලය පිළිබඳව විශ්වාසය ඇති වෙනවා. යහපත් කර්ම කරෝතින් යහපත් ආනිසංසත්, හිත අපිරිසිදු අයහපත් කර්ම කරෝතින් දුක ලැබෙනවා කියන කාරණය. මෙන්න මේ දැනීමත් එක්ක අපි හැකිතාක් දුරට අකුසලෙන් මිදලා දාන සීල භාවනා කියන ත්‍රිවිධ පුණ්‍ය ක්‍රියා සිදු කරනවා. මේ පින්කම් කරන අපේ මෙලොව ජීවිතය සාර්ථක වෙනවා. සතුට දිනු වෙනවා. හිත පහන් වෙනවා. ප්‍රීතිය දිනු වෙනවා. සැපය දිනු වෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන් මේ පින්කම් අප ධාන මට්ටමට සිදු කරන්නට ඕන. දානේ ත්‍යාගානුපස්සනා දක්වා දිනු වෙන්නට ඕන. සීලයේ සීලානුසති භාවනා දක්වා දිනු වෙන්නට ඕන. විශේෂයෙන් අපේ භාවනාව මෛත්‍රී භාවනාව පදනම් කරගත්තු සමතයක් දිනු කරගන්නට ඕන. මේ අනසංස විදියට අපට අපේ ජීවිතයේ සතුට දිනෙන් දින දිනන ආකාරය අපට දැක ගන්න පුළුවන්. අපේ ශරීරය ලෙඩ වෙනවට වඩා වේගෙන්, වයසට යනවට වඩා වේගෙන්, මරණයට ළඟා වෙනවට වඩා වේගෙන් අපේ ආධ්‍යාත්මික සතුට දිනු වෙනට ඕන. අප සැබෑ ලෙසම ධහම තුල හික්මෙනවා නම්, කල්‍යාණ මිත්‍රාශ්‍රයෙන් සැබෑ ධර්මයක් අප ශ්‍රවණය කළ තියෙනවා නම්, ඒ ධහම ගැන පැහැදිලි විශ්වාසයක් ශ්‍රද්ධාවක් හටගෙන තියෙනවා නම්, අපේ ජීවිතය ආධ්‍යාත්මික සතුට වේගෙන් වැඩි වෙන්නට ඕන. ඒ සතුට භෞතික දේවල් හෝ පුද්ගලයන් මත පමණක් නෙවෙයි, අපේ ශරීරයේ මතවත් යැපෙන පදනම් වෙන සතුටක් නෙවෙයි. ඒක තනිකරම ආධ්‍යාත්මික සතුටක් වෙන්නට ඕන. ත්‍රිවිධ පුණ්‍ය ක්‍රියාවලින් අපේ ජීවිතය පුරවා ගන්නට ඕන. අන්නේ ගමන ශක්තිමත් කරගන්න ගමන් හේතුඵල ධහම, දුකිය හට ගැනීම හා නිරෝධය ගැන අපට දැක්මක් ඇති වෙන්නට ඕන. අවිද්‍යාසගත ලෝකය ඇසුරු කරනකොට ලෝකයේ තුල හිත බැසගෙන දුක හට ගන්න ආකාරයත්, බාහිර ලෝකයේ නිරෝධය දකිමින් නිරුද්ධ වෙච්ච ලෝකයක් තමයි ඇසුරු කරන බව තේරුම් ගන්නකොට අවිද්‍යාවෙන් දුර වෙලා අපේ ජීවිත සකසා ගන්න ආකාරයත් අපට පේන්නට ඕන. අන්නේ ධම්මගේ සාක්ෂාත් කරගන්නට නම් ආරෂ්ඨික මාර්ගය පදනම් කරගත්තු සීල සමාධි ප්‍රඥා කියන මේ ත්‍රිවිධ ශික්ෂා ඔස්සේ හැකිතාක් දුරට වේගවත්ව මේ ආධ්‍යාත්මික ගමන ඉක්මන් කරගත යුතු ආකාරය අපට පෙන්නට ඕන. පින්නතුනි අප ලෙඩ වෙනට වඩා වේගෙන් අප වියපත් වෙනට වඩා වේගෙන් අප මරණය කරා ළඟ වෙනට වඩා වේගෙන් අපි ධර්මයේ තුල පුහුණු වෙන්නට ඕන. ජීවිතේට අනවශ්‍ය කරදර අපි ඇති කරගෙන මේ ධම්මකින් අපි බැහැර වෙන්නට හොඳ නැහැ. අනිත් පුද්ගලයන්ගේ අඩුපාඩුකම් හිතමින් ඒව කතා කරමින් ඒවටම ජීවිත කැප කරමින් අපේ මේ වටිනා ජීවිතය පින්නතුනි නාස්ති කර ගන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. අපි බොහොම දුක් විඳලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කළ ලැබු ජීවිතයක් අපිට මේ තියෙන්නේ. අනේ ජීවිතයේ නිකරුණේ අපට විය පෑදම් කරන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ. ඒ ජීවිතය අපට නාස්ති කර ගන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ. එහෙම කරගත්තොත් අපි ලොකු අභාග්‍යයක් පින්නතුනේ ඒක. මේ ලබා ගන්නව දුර්ලභ මේ සාත්ම භාවයත් අති දුර්ලභ සම්බුද්ධ ශාසනයත් දෙක මුණ ගැහිච්ච මේ ෂණ සම්පත්තිය ලැබපු මොහොත තුල අප හැකිතාක් දුරට මේ ආධ්‍යාත්මික ගමන් මගේ ඉදිරිය බලා පියවර ගන්නට ඕන. ඒ සඳහා සීලයක පිහිටලා හැකිතාක් දුරට හිත සමාධිමත් කරගෙන නීවරණ යටපත් කර ගනිමින් මේ හේතුඵල ධම අනිත්‍ය ස්වභාවය මේ චිත්තචෛතසිකයන්හි නැත්නම් නාම රූප දෙකෙහි ස්කන්ධ පංචකයේ සමුදය වැය පුළුවන් තරම් බලන්න උත්සාහ කරන්න විදර්ශනා වඩන්න. ඒ තුළින් එක අතකින් බාහිර ලෝකේ නිදහස් වන්නටත් අනිත් අතින් අභ්‍යන්තර නාමයන්තේ නිදහස් වන්නට අපට හැකි වෙනවා. අන්න ඒ තුළින් පීති සම්බොජ්ජංගියත් උපේක්ඛා සම්බොජ්ජංගියත් දියුණු කරගෙන අපේ ජීවිතයේ සැබෑ ආධ්‍යාත්මික ඉලක්කය කරා දියුණුව කරා ළඟාවන්නට අපට පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා. අන්නේ ගමන් මග යනට අපි හැම දිනෙකම අදිෂ්ඨාන කරගනිමු. මේ උතුම් පින්කම් ආනිසංසයෙන් අද විශේෂයෙන් ආශිර්වාද කරන්නට බලාපොරොත්තු වන සාරා මිල මිත්‍රානි මේ මහත්මියට නිදුක් නිරෝගී සම්පන්නිය චිර ජීවනයේ සැලසේවා. ජේම්ස් ඩග්ලස් මහත්මයා එම මහත්මිය තුළු ඒ පවුලේ හැම දෙනාටම මේ ධර්ම ශ්‍රවණය කළ ඔබ හැම දෙනාටම නිදුක් නිරෝගී සම්පන්නිය චිර ජීවනයේ සැලසේවා. මේ උතුම් පින් ආනිසංසයෙන් පින්නතුන්ට මෙවැනි ලස්සන පින්කම් සිදු කරන්නට පරිසරය සකසලා දෙන ගෞරවනීය කාඩරූපේ විමල රතන හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේටත් කාඩරූපේ විමල කීර්ති හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ ඇතුළු ඒ සියලුම ස්වාමින් වහන්සේලාටත් මේ උතුම් කුසලයේ උන්වහන්සේලාගේ ආධ්‍යාත්මික ජීවිතය සඳහා ආශිර්වාදයක් වේවා කියලා අපි ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමු. හැම දිනාටම මේ උතුම් කුසලයේ හේතුවෙන් මෙලොව වශයෙන් නිදුක් නිරෝගී සම්පන්නිය චිර ජීවනයේ සැලසේවා. පරලෝ ජීවිත සුගතිගාමීව ප්‍රාර්ථනානුකූලව ඊ타ම ඉක්මන් භවයකදී උතුම් නිර්වාණ අවබෝධය සැලසේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමු. By the power of all these meritorious activities that you accrue through listening to Dhamma and practicing Dhamma, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May all your spiritual and educational goals meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Dukkam pantāca nirdukkam Bhayam pantāca nirbhayam Sokam pantāca nissokam Hontu sabbe pipānino Dukin pelena sat Dukin mitettvā Bien pelena sat බිය නැති වෙත්වා සොවින්ත වෙනසත් සොම්නස් වෙත්වා නිතින් මේ හැම සත් සුවපත් වෙත්වා. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.